Did y'all see what Stacey said this weekend? Said that Georgia's the worst place in the country to live. Hey, she ain't from here. Let her go back where she came from. She doesn't like it here.
That was Georgia Senate candidate David Perdue attacking his political opponent Stacey Abrams while campaigning. It's a little understandable why he'd want to attack her, considering the fact that he's trailing her to the tune of 30 points. But nonetheless, he decided to tell her to go back to where she came from, even though she was born in Wisconsin and has lived in Georgia since 1989. But let's hear more from his rant, and then we'll fill you in on what triggered him to have this meltdown.
When she told black farmers, you don't need to be on the farm, and she told black workers in hospitality and all this, you don't need to be, she is demeaning her own race when it comes to that. I am really over this.
I wonder what Stacey Abrams would be referring to if she's talking to black voters and telling them they don't need to be on the farm. I wonder what she could have been referring to, Cenk.
Oh, that's demeaning her race? I thought maybe the slavery that your ancestors did, David Perdue, was demeaning them. But no, now you want to write the history book, so that didn't happen. And instead you want to blame Stacey Abrams. Look, guys, let me break down what's happening in the Georgia race. Literally every Republican running in Georgia, whether they're in the governor's race or not, is running against Stacey Abrams. Why are they doing that? Isn't that curious? I mean, if you're running for a different position, whether it's Senate, governor, it's congressman, it doesn't matter. They're all running. Almost all of their ads are against Stacey Abrams. But wait a minute, why? And the reason is because they know they're in Republican primaries and Republican voters are racist. And they're super proud to be racist now, so that's why he says things like, why don't you go back to where you came from? In the old days, people wouldn't have said that because it was obviously racist and that would have gotten you in trouble. Now, it doesn't get you in trouble. It gets you more voters in the Republican Party, not less. And everybody knows that. And the more brazenly racist you are, the more votes you'll get.
Well, let me actually fill it in a little more because it's deeper than that. Because what triggered him was what Stacey Abrams had to say about the failures of the leadership in Georgia. So let's listen to what she had to say. This is the speech that triggered him. And there's a very specific reason why he didn't respond to the substance of what she had to say and immediately went to race or went to the juvenile comeback of, why don't you go back to where you came from? Let's watch.
I am tired of hearing about being the best state in the country to do business when we are the worst state in the country to live. Now, somebody's gonna try to PolitiFact me on this, so let me contextualize. When you're number 48 for mental health, when you're number 1 for maternal mortality, when you have an incarceration rate that's on the rise and wages that are on the decline, then you're not the number 1 place to live in the United States, but we can get there.
So it wasn't an accident that David Perdue, who again is trailing to the tune of 30 points in his race, decided to just say, go back to where you came from instead of addressing what she listed there as very real problems that people living in Georgia, the electorate in Georgia, are experiencing. And it's not just Georgia. Obviously, the issues that she brought up in her speech are issues that American voters are facing across the country. But what do we get in regard to a response from lawmakers? But by the way, certainly Republican lawmakers, but also Democratic lawmakers. We get a deflection or an immediate attempt to deflect and distract with culture war narratives. Teachers are groomers, trans people are dangerous, look out for those Muslims, maybe we should reconsider gay marriage, whatever it is. Any culture war issue they can think of. Look at that, because they don't want to address what Stacey Abrams talked about in that speech. The fact that people's wages not only have been stagnant since the 1970s, the recent trend is our wages adjusted for inflation have gone down. Okay, mental health crisis in this country, drug addiction epidemic in this country. People are suffering. David Perdue and his right-wing cronies not only want to fail to do anything about it. They of course want to ignore it, but they want to empower the very corporate interests that lead to the pain and suffering that Americans are facing today as we speak. That's the reason why all he had to pull out of his pocket was, why don't you go back to where you came from? Ha ha ha. What are you doing for the voters in Georgia? Nothing, nothing. And that's why he's failing.
David Perdue is one of the guys who did insider trading in Congress. And of course voted for tax cuts for the rich. The only thing he's ever done is help the rich and help himself. So look, honestly, Stacey Abrams should have known better. And why do I say that? Her point was perfectly valid. She backed it up with facts. But you don't know the media in this country? They're not gonna do the whole sentence. They're gonna purposely take a certain portion and twist it for a good headline, and they're gonna smear you. Maybe she thought she was protected because she's a Democrat and mainstream media is mainly behind Democratic Party officials, right? Not behind the left wing. Mainstream media despises the left wing, but they love like Democratic politicians. So that's why she probably thought she's protected. But you think, but what about the right wing media? Of course, they're gonna tell everybody, and they're gonna show only the part of the clip where you say it's bad to live in Georgia. And so, but you think the mainstream media doesn't do that?
It is bad to live in Georgia. You know who knows that? Voters in Georgia. It is bad to live in Georgia. Okay, let me ask the right winger something. By the way, earlier on, I think I misspoke and I said that he's running against Stacey Abrams. He's running against Brian Kemp. Sorry about that.
It's a Republican primary.
It's a Republican primary. My bad, I misspoke. Okay, getting that out of the way. Yeah, it is terrible. You think that people in Georgia, and by the way, across the country, don't see what's happening to their personal finances? You think they don't see all of these terrible things happening in the country on a regular basis? Of course they see it. But the other thing is, the right wing loves to attack anyone who wants to improve the country. Oh, they hate the country. Do you hate your kids? So do you not, discipline your kids? Don't you want to improve their education, improve who they are as people? You love your kids, right? So you want them to be the best they can be. So like this ideology of like, well, we don't know, we can't criticize the United States, we can't criticize our state, we can't criticize the country. No, this country is long overdue for a huge awakening regarding what we represent. Because we don't represent the best interests of our citizens, we don't represent the best interests of global citizens. All this country cares about is corporate profits and how their stock portfolios are performing. That is it. That is it. And they'll distract you with culture war narratives as they're robbing you. And the people of Georgia know it. The people of Georgia know it.
Okay, now get a load of this irony. How dare you criticize the great state of Georgia and say that it's not doing great? That's why I support the guy who said, make America great again, and constantly crapped all over America and every institution that America had. Wait a minute, no one noticed that irony? Donald Trump, all he ever said was, America sucks, we're losing, we're a bunch of losers, everything is weak in America, America's terrible, terrible, terrible. I'm the only one who can make it great. I'm the only one, otherwise America's terrible. And you loved it. Now she says, hey, can we make Georgia a little bit better by having higher wages? You're like, how dare you? Shut up, you hypocrites. You don't mean any of it. It's all rhetorical tricks. Okay, and the last part is the media failures. So look, I did an interview with David Duke, and I sarcastically told him, oh, sure you're not racist, David Duke, after I'd called him a racist, a bigot, and an anti-Semite. The New York Times only took the snippet where I said, sure you're not a racist. They took out the sarcasm from it and pretended that I was agreeing with David Duke's anti-Semitism. So the media, honestly, will twist anything. So the right wing that complains about mainstream media, you're not wrong about that part, okay? Beware of all media. And yeah, we're in the media, beware of us too. Double check, do everything to make sure you're getting actual facts. Not, hey, I saw a rando on Facebook said this, actual facts. Because the New York Times will definitely lie to you, Fox News will definitely lie to you. And in this case, they're all pretending that Stacey Abrams said something she didn't say. If you just watch 30 seconds.
I mean, who isn't embarrassed by this country? Are you guys offended by that? Like, do you guys look at the United States and feel proud? I don't care. Get offended, get triggered. This country is an embarrassment. Okay, never mind Georgia. This country, the United States of America, is an embarrassment. We represent death. That's what we do here. Death in our school systems, where we allow for all sorts of deranged lunatics to get their hands on whatever guns they want to massacre our kids. Okay, death in the form of toppling democratically elected governments on behalf of corporate interests in the United States. This country is about death. It prioritizes profits over people every time. I am embarrassed by the United States.
So I'm going to back up with what Anna said with facts. We're the only developed nation that does not have paid family leave. Once you have a kid, pro-life my ass, back into the mines, and you are to work at the lowest possible wage for every single minute of your life. No, you have kids, you do not get paid family leave. Every other developed nation thinks we're monsters for that. We're the only developed nation that doesn't have universal health care. If you don't have enough money, we just let you die. 45,000 people a year die because they don't have health insurance. And the New York Times and CNN celebrate it. They go, oh, how are you going to pay for it? The rich will not benefit from that. We'll strike it down. We'll root for the incumbent politicians and Democrats and corporate Republicans. And why don't they ever tell you? Why don't they ever tell you, hey, you know what? Our politicians are monsters who only represent the rich. And it's a very honest and obvious, I should say, reason why they do. Because they literally get bribed by the rich. That's our political system, where donors give millions of dollars. Sheldon Adelson gave Donald Trump over $100 million. You think that's not a bribe? His criminal charges went away. They moved to Jerusalem, our capital to Jerusalem like he wanted. Trump gave his wife a Presidential Medal of Freedom. He made sure to crush his unions. We literally allow bribery in America. We legalize bribery, yet the press can't tell. They're like, how did we wind up at the very bottom of every single ranking while by the way, being the richest nation on earth? How can we not have money for it? Because all of the money went to the top. And one of the things that the very rich in this country bought was media, so that they can give you an illusion of equality and freedom while taking every dollar out of your pocket and making sure that you get the bare minimum. We lead in gun violence and we lead in maternal death rate. We will let the babies and their mothers die so that healthcare companies can make more money.
That's right.